Have you ever wondered why certain people command respect without even trying? Their words are never interrupted. Their time is never wasted. Something about them makes others treat them differently, and it's not luck. It's not that they're smarter, wealthier, or more successful than you. The truth is harsher. They've mastered a psychological principle that no one ever taught you. A principle so simple yet so powerful that once you grasp it, the way others treat you will never be the same. Think about it. Someone cuts in line ahead of you, and you stay silent. A friend cancels on you for the third time in a row, and you laugh it off. A colleague steals credit for your idea, and you let it slide. What you may not realize is that in those moments, you are teaching people exactly how to treat you. You are training them to step on you. Now here's the part that stings. The people who never deal with this, who walk into a room and instantly command respect, are not avoiding disrespect by accident. They are applying a dark psychological truth that Machiavelli identified 5 centuries ago. A truth that separates the respected from the overlooked, the leaders from the approval seekers. What if I told you that being liked is actually making you weaker? That every attempt to please others is a small surrender of your own strength? The more you chase approval, the less others value you. This isn't motivational fluff. This is raw psychology that works in every room, every time. By the end of this video, you'll see why some people capture attention the moment they enter, while others fade into the background. Why some are listened to, while others are ignored. And more importantly, you'll learn how to become the person who never has to beg for respect again. If you are ready to stop being everyone's backup plan and start being their first choice, I want you to declare this in the comments. Respect over approval. Every person who has ever disrespected you, dismissed you, or treated you like you were insignificant, shared one crucial insight. They knew you needed their approval more than they needed yours. Think about it. When was the last time anyone genuinely respected someone desperate to be liked? Never. Because desperation has a scent, and people can detect it long before you open your mouth. When you make being liked your top priority, you become predictable. People know you will smile even when you are insulted. They know you will agree even when they are wrong. They know you will show up even when they do not honor your time. And once you are predictable, you are replaceable. The harder you chase approval, the less anyone actually values you. It sounds counterintuitive, but look at the people you truly respect. Are they the ones who beg for your validation, or are they the ones who carry themselves as if they are perfectly fine without it? Human nature is simple. We crave what is scarce and dismiss what is too available. Every time you run after approval, you are lowering your own value in the eyes of others. Machiavelli captured this centuries ago when he wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. He was not endorsing cruelty. He was describing the psychology of respect. Fear, in this sense, does not mean terror. It means consequence. When people know there is a price to crossing you, they act differently. Think about the most respected figures in your life. The teacher who held you to high standards, the boss who never let mediocrity slide, the friend who told you the truth even when it hurt. What did they all have in common? They did not need your approval to feel strong. They had boundaries, and they enforced them. Meanwhile, people who dedicate themselves to pleasing everyone are walked over, forgotten, and ignored, because when you are endlessly available, you lose your uniqueness. Those who exploit your hunger for approval do not admire you for it. Deep down, they see weakness. They may flatter you to your face, but behind closed doors, they know you will bend for scraps of attention. This is the trap that leaves millions powerless. They believe being nice and agreeable will win them love and respect. Instead, it wins them contempt. Respect is never handed out freely. It is claimed. And you cannot claim anything while you are on your knees begging for approval. If you are ready to choose differently, declare it now in the comments. I choose power. Now that you see how the need to be liked is quietly sabotaging your life, let's talk about what truly matters. Respect. And not the fake politeness people put on when they are trying to be nice. I mean the kind of deep, instinctive respect that makes people think twice before they waste your time. Respect rests on one principle: consequence. When people know there is a price for crossing you, they avoid doing it. But when they know they can walk over you without facing any reaction, they will take advantage every single time. This is where most people are confused. They think respect is earned through charm, success, or talent. That is admiration, not respect. True respect comes from making it clear you will not tolerate disrespect. It comes from boundaries that actually mean something. Let me break this down. When someone disrespects you and you stay silent, you teach them that disrespecting you is free. You train them to repeat the behavior. But when someone crosses the line and immediately faces consequences, losing your trust, losing your support, losing your presence, they quickly learn not to do it again. This is why some of the kindest people get treated the worst. They have trained those around them that bad behavior has no cost. They make themselves easy targets. And once you are easy to disrespect, respect becomes impossible. But the moment you flip the script, everything changes. When you show people that your time, your focus, and your energy carry value, they start treating you differently. Suddenly, their words around you are measured. Their actions are more careful. You become someone they cannot afford to dismiss. Machiavelli once wrote that people are so simple and so driven by immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. In other words, people will treat you exactly how you allow them to treat you. Nothing more, nothing less. The dark power of respect is that it reinforces itself. The more you demand it, the more you receive it. The more you receive it, the easier it becomes to demand. It is a cycle that elevates the way people see you. And this is the crucial difference between demanding respect and demanding approval. When you demand approval, you put the power in their hands. They decide whether or not to give you what you want. But when you demand respect, you keep the power in your own hands. Respect is not something people grant you out of generosity. It is something you claim by refusing to accept anything less. Think about the most respected people you know. Do they beg for respect? Do they explain why they deserve it? Do they lower their standards to make others comfortable? Never. They simply refuse to accept disrespect, and that refusal becomes their strength. That is what separates the strong from the weak. The strong know that respect is non-negotiable. The weak believe they can buy it by being endlessly kind and agreeable. But you cannot buy respect by giving away your strength. You earn respect by holding on to it. If you understand this, I want you to declare it now in the comments. My value is non-negotiable. Here is something that may shock you. Every interaction in your life revolves around control. Who controls the conversation? Who controls the relationship? Who controls the outcome? And here is the truth. If you do not know who is in control, then it is not you. Approval seekers give away control without realizing it. Each time you change your behavior to earn someone's approval, you hand them power over your actions. Each time you bite your tongue to avoid conflict, you hand them power over your voice. Each time you say yes when you want to say no, you hand them power over your choices. But those who do not need approval keep control. They speak their minds regardless of how others react. They make decisions based on what they want, not what others expect. They set the terms of every interaction instead of passively accepting the terms offered to them. This is why the addiction to approval is so dangerous. It is not just about feelings. It is about who decides what happens in your life. And when you need others to validate you, you are essentially giving them the remote control to your emotions. Think about it. When you crave someone's approval, you will do almost anything to keep them happy. You will shift your opinions, hide parts of yourself, and compromise your values. You become whatever they want you to be. That is not a relationship. That is submission disguised as connection. The real power begins when you no longer need their approval. When you are completely fine with someone disliking you, if that is the price for staying true to yourself, you reclaim all of your strength. They can no longer weaponize your neediness against you. This is the secret. Confident people understand. They are not confident because nothing bothers them. They are confident because they refuse to let other people's opinions define their worth. They make themselves psychologically untouchable. Machiavelli once observed that people only see you as you appear, while very few ever know who you truly are. The moment you stop performing for the sake of approval, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. What happens when you break free from the approval trap? First, people lose the ability to manipulate you. They cannot push your buttons because you have disconnected those buttons from your behavior. Guilt, shame, and pressure stop working the moment you stop caring about approval. Second, your decisions become clearer than ever. Instead of asking what will keep others happy, you start asking what serves you best. Instead of pleasing the crowd, you focus on pleasing the one person whose opinion actually matters, yourself. Third, your relationships transform. Not all of them. Some people will hate losing the ability to control you, and they will disappear. Let them. The ones who remain are real, built on respect rather than your desperation for acceptance. This is the psychological shift that changes everything. From, I hope they like me, to, I do not care if they do not. From, what do they think, to, what do I think? From, I need their approval to, they need to earn my respect. Now I want you to declare this in the comments. I control my value. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Your need for approval is not just a personality trait. It is an addiction. And like any addiction, it is being exploited by those who understand how it works. Here is how approval addiction functions. Someone compliments you, likes your post, or tells you that you are amazing. Your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical triggered by drugs. You feel good. Very good. But like any high, it fades. And when it does, you crave another hit. That is where the danger begins. People around you quickly recognize this pattern. They learn that a small dose of approval can make you do almost anything. Need you to stay late at work? A compliment about your dedication. Need you to lend money? A kind word about your generosity. Need you to ignore their bad behavior? A sweet remark about your understanding nature. They are literally using your brain chemistry against you. And the worst part is that you are helping them by being so desperate for recognition that you accept any scraps they throw your way. This is why approval addiction is so dangerous. It makes you easy to control. People know exactly which buttons to press to get what they want from you. They do not need to threaten you. They just hand you the tiny dose of validation you are starving for, and you will give them everything in return. But those who do not need approval cannot be manipulated like this. You cannot control someone with flattery if they do not crave flattery. You cannot bend someone with acceptance if they do not need acceptance. You cannot use their emotions against them if their emotions are not tied to your opinion. Here is the brutal truth about recognition. It costs nothing to give, yet it becomes incredibly expensive for the one who needs it. Anyone can say you are great. It costs them nothing. But for you to feel good about yourself, you need to hear it again and again from more and more people. You become dependent on something that others control completely. Machiavelli warned of this centuries ago, saying that those who abandon what is real for what ought to be will ruin themselves. The same applies here. When you focus on becoming what others think you should be instead of who you really are, you destroy your own strength. Look at how this plays out in real life. Approval addicts shift their personality depending on who they are with. They hold different opinions in different groups. They hide parts of themselves that might not be accepted. They become a collection of masks instead of a whole person. Meanwhile, those who do not chase approval remain consistent. They are the same everywhere they go. They voice their real opinions regardless of the reaction. They show their true selves because they are not afraid of rejection. And the irony is that this authenticity earns them more respect and more genuine admiration than any people-pleaser ever receives. Breaking free from approval addiction is not easy. Your brain will fight you at every step. It will tell you that without approval, you will be lonely and rejected. It will make you feel guilty for not caring about what others think. It will try to drag you back into the endless chase for validation. This is where discipline comes in. You must consciously choose to stop chasing approval, even when every fiber of your being is begging for it. You must be willing to be disliked, misunderstood, and criticized. You must value your own opinion above every other voice combined. Now I want you to declare this in the comments. My recognition comes from within. Now, we move into the practical side. The rules that transform you from someone walked over into someone who commands respect without even needing to speak it. These are not theories. These are principles tested in real life that work every time. Rule 1. Speak less, act more. Most people talk too much and act too little. They over-explain, give excuses, and constantly justify themselves. This makes them look weak and desperate to be understood. Those who command respect do the opposite. They only speak when there is something important to say, and they let their actions do the talking. They do not justify their decisions to people who have no authority to question them. They do not defend their choices to those who cannot make better ones themselves. When someone disrespects you, do not lecture them about respect. Simply remove yourself. When someone breaks a boundary, do not explain why boundaries matter. Simply enforce consequences. When someone challenges your choices, do not defend them. Stand firm. Machiavelli wrote that the lion cannot defend itself against traps, and the fox cannot defend itself against wolves. You must be the fox to recognize traps and the lion to frighten wolves. Be the fox when strategy is needed, and the lion when strength must be shown. Rule 2. Never chase approval. This one is simple, but not easy. No matter how badly you want someone's approval, never pursue it. Do not send repeated messages if they ignore you. Do not explain yourself when they seem upset. Do not try to win them over when they turn cold. Chasing approval screams desperation, and desperation kills respect. Instead, remain indifferent to their opinion of you. If they like you, fine. If not, that is their loss. Indifference has a magnetic pull. It makes people wonder why you do not need their approval, and that makes them respect you more. Rule 3. Stay calm and cold under attack. When someone provokes, insults, or tries to push your buttons, your reaction decides everything. If you become emotional, defensive, or angry, they win. They have shown that they can control your emotions, which means they hold power over you. But if you remain calm, detached, even slightly amused, you show everyone that you cannot be touched. You become psychologically untouchable, and that terrifies manipulators who depend on emotional control. Rule 4. Always be unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to control. If others know exactly how you will react in every situation, they can manipulate those reactions to get what they want. Keep people guessing. Sometimes generous, sometimes ruthless, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes willing to help, sometimes putting yourself first. This unpredictability keeps others off balance and forces them to respect your independence. Machiavelli once said that since love and fear rarely coexist, if you must choose, it is safer to be feared than loved. Do not be predictably nice, and do not be predictably cruel. Be both, strategically. Rule 5. Enforce boundaries quickly and silently. When someone crosses a line, the speed and clarity of your response matter more than the severity. A swift, proportional consequence teaches the lesson better than a delayed punishment. And silence often speaks louder than any explanation. Do not issue repeated warnings. Do not hand out second chances for the same behavior. Do not explain why their actions were wrong. Simply enforce the consequence immediately and move on. This shows everyone around you that your boundaries are real, not suggestions. Now I want you to declare this in the comments. I am untouchable. Rule 6. Scarcity and distance amplify power. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They believe being constantly available makes them valuable. They believe saying yes to everything makes them indispensable. They believe unlimited access to their time and attention makes them more loved. They are wrong on every count. Scarcity creates value. It always has, and it always will. When something is rare, people desire it more. When something is common, people take it for granted. This applies to money, possessions, opportunities, and most of all, to you. If you are always available, you become background noise in people's lives. They stop appreciating your presence because they know it is guaranteed. They stop valuing your cooperation because they know you will always say yes. They stop fearing the loss of you because they know you will always forgive. But when your time is scarce, when your attention is limited, when your forgiveness has conditions, suddenly people start treating these things as the precious resources they truly are. Think about the people with the most social power in any group. Are they the ones who attend every event and agree with everyone? Never. They are the ones who appear when they choose, leave when they are ready, and say no without offering excuses. Their selective presence makes their real presence infinitely more valuable. This is the strength of strategic distance. It is not about being cold or cruel. It is about being selective with where you invest your energy. It is not about hostility toward everyone, but it is also not about being endlessly available to them. Machiavelli once wrote that men judge more by what they see than by what they feel. Everyone can see appearances, but few can perceive reality. The less often people see you, the more curious they become about you. And curiosity is power. Here is how to apply this in real life. Instead of being the person who replies to every message instantly, become the person who replies when it is convenient for you. Instead of showing up to every gathering, choose carefully which invitations you accept. Instead of helping everyone who asks, reserve your help for those who truly deserve it. This is not rudeness or selfishness. This is recognizing that your time and energy are limited resources and treating them accordingly. When you hand them out freely to everyone, they lose value. When you give them selectively to those who appreciate them, they become priceless. The beauty of scarcity is that it reinforces itself. The less available you are, the more people crave your attention. The more they crave your attention, the better they treat you to earn it. The better they treat you, the more selective you can afford to be. It becomes an upward spiral of respect and influence, but you must be willing to lose some people in the process. Those who only valued you because you were easily accessible will disappear when you become selective. Good. Those were never real relationships. They were simply people exploiting your availability. The ones who remain, the ones who respect your boundaries and treasure your selective presence, those are the relationships worth having. They are built on mutual respect, not your desperation to please. Distance also brings clarity. When you are not constantly trying to manage the emotions and opinions of others, you can think clearly about what you actually want. When you are not always reacting to other people's demands, you can take proactive steps toward your own goals. This is why the strongest people often appear a little distant. It is not that they do not care. It is that they do not care too much. They understand that emotional distance is necessary for clear thinking and sound decisions. So what happens when you actually live by these principles? When you stop chasing approval and start demanding respect? When you replace the addiction to being liked with the power of being respected? Everything changes. First, your relationships improve dramatically. Not all of them. Some people will resent the new version of you because they can no longer manipulate you. But the ones that remain become deeper and more authentic. People begin to connect with your real self instead of the mask you once wore to keep everyone happy. Second, your confidence skyrockets. Not the fragile confidence that depends on outside validation, but real confidence that comes from knowing your value is not up for debate. You stop doubting yourself because you stop caring whether others agree with your choices. Third, opportunities start coming to you instead of you chasing them. People seek your opinion because they know you will speak the truth, not just what they want to hear. They offer you better positions because they know you will not settle for scraps. Fourth, your stress levels drop dramatically. When you stop trying to manage everyone's feelings and opinions, life becomes far simpler. You focus on what truly matters, instead of worrying whether you might have upset someone. The most important transformation is this. You become psychologically free. Free from the exhausting cycle of chasing approval and avoiding rejection. Free from the need to shapeshift into a different person for every audience. Free to be authentically yourself without apology or explanation. Machiavelli once wrote that it is not the title that makes the man, but the man who makes the title. Your value does not come from what others think of you. It comes from what you believe about yourself and how you choose to show up in the world. This shift does not happen overnight, and it is not always comfortable. You will be tempted to return to old patterns when things get difficult. You will doubt yourself when people react negatively to your new boundaries. You will wonder if you are being too harsh when you enforce consequences. But stay the course, because on the other side of that discomfort is a version of you that you may not have met yet. A version of you who commands respect without ever asking for it. A version of you who attracts authentic relationships without chasing them. A version of you who holds real power without abusing it. The world is full of desperate people begging to be liked. What it lacks are people who demand true respect. Which one will you be? If you have made it this far, you are already different from most. Most people cannot face the uncomfortable truths about themselves and their relationships. Most people cling to comfort and weakness rather than confront how they have given away their power. But you are still here, which means you are ready to make the shift. From someone walked over to someone respected. From someone begging for approval to someone who no longer needs it. From someone who gives away their strength to someone who protects it. Remember, this is not about being cold or cruel. This is about being strong. This is about knowing your worth and refusing to accept anything less than respect. This is about breaking free from the addiction to approval that has ruled your life and stepping into the strength that has always been waiting for you. The principles we have covered today: speak less and act more. Never chase approval. Remain calm under attack. Be unpredictable. Enforce boundaries quickly and use scarcity strategically, are not just tactics. They are a way of life. A way of moving through the world that automatically demands respect. Machiavelli once said that the wise man does at once what the fool does at last. Do not wait until years of disrespect force you to stand up for yourself. Begin today. Begin right now. Begin with the very next interaction you have. Your future self, the one who commands respect, who builds authentic connections, who never needs approval to feel whole, is waiting for you to make this choice. The only question is, how much longer will you make them wait? If this video has opened your eyes to how you have been giving away your power, hit the like button. If you know someone who needs this message, share it with them. And if you want more content that cuts through the noise and gives you real tools for personal power, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. The journey from people pleaser to respected individual begins with a single step. By watching this video, you have already taken it. Now, take the next one by applying what you have learned. And I want you to leave this final declaration in the comments. Respect is my birthright. Because in a world full of people begging to be liked, the one who does not need approval holds all the cards. Be that person. Demand the respect you deserve. And watch everything in your life transform when you finally stop giving away your power.